So here we are, year 16, since we began these crazy rides around the world, some of which have been massive, like London to, or Cape Town to London, or from Venice to Beijing. But a few years ago, 2012 I think it was, we decided on doing this ride we've called the long drop. And where that name comes from is we try to stay as close as we can to the same longitude and go as far as we can. So we thought it was a good idea to finish up in Auckland. So if we go directly north of Auckland, then you would start riding your bike up here in Ananda, up in the far east of Russia. But unfortunately there's no roads from Ananda further. So what we did is we got on a boat actually and went up and right up to the top here, Ragnall Island, which is about as close as you can get to the Auckland longitude to start the long drop. So we did that boat ride, then we started riding over here, where's the top, the nearest road we can find, Magadan, went across the Road of Bones, all the way out into the middle of Siberia here, then down into Vladivostok, and as some will remember, through North Korea, South Korea, all the way down here. Then the next, that was that leg, 2013, and the next leg was supposed to go across here on the boat in Shanghai and just keep, meandering down. But Joanne got a bee in a bonnet that, she'd actually quite like to go to Pakistan, which is quite a long way from the longitude. So despite my protestations, she won. So then the bikes got sent across all the way here to Karachi. And so we came back then, all the way up Pakistan, across Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, and Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia. So we're sort of still on the route, although we missed this little gap here and decided to do this big long one over here instead. So it hasn't been the perfect trip planning that I've ever done. Anyway, the trip still has to be continued. We haven't got to Auckland yet. So this next leg, we're actually starting tomorrow up in the top of Sumatra by pretty close to Banda Aceh, where the big Boxing Day floods, some people will remember, the tsunami. And we're coming all the way through Sumatra, across Java, Bali, and then there's a whole host of islands actually, all the way out to the island of Timor. So West Timor, of course, is still Indonesia, so we get there, and then we go across the border into East Timor, Timor-Leste, as it's called, to Dili. And that's where this next section of about 5,000 kilometres finishes. So we're still not in Auckland, but the saga continues. We've got plenty of time, we figure. The bikes that we've used for the whole of this long drop have been Suzuki DR650s. Not the standard bike we've used everywhere else, either a BMW Dakar 650 or an 800 GS. And the reason for that was because Joanne had no confidence in my riding when we were up in Siberia, that I wouldn't avoid drowning my bike. And if you've got an electronic ignition bike, then it's pretty difficult to fix if you drown it. But if you've got a carburettor machine, then it can be sort of drained. So as it happened up in Siberia, I did drown the bike 3 times, and so she was quite prescient really in that forecast, and so the DRs did really well, and we got through without having to fly parts in from Munich or wherever you have to get them for electronic bikes. So we have stuck with that good thing, and they're still using DR650s for this Indonesia. There's a lot of water here too actually, but hopefully I won't ride into it because I'll be on ferries between these islands. Well, that's the plan. So this ride will take about 5 weeks. we will do some project work with UNICEF in East Timor. We always like to have projects, if we can, on these rides. It sort of adds to the dimension of what you're doing. It's not just a motorcycle ride, it's about learning about all these countries and these societies in particular, the people. And if we can lend a hand in any way to, because a lot of these countries we go to are very, very disadvantaged compared to, well, especially to us, but to New Zealanders generally. So that'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to doing that stuff in East Timor, and then we'll be back here in mid-July to think about the next ride.